Hey everyone, this is Johnny G and friends from Panavista Records. Today we have a very special guest via FaceTime from Cleveland, Tennessee, Mr. Gwen Shroyer, the infamous saxophonist from Cleveland, Tennessee. Hi Gwen, how are you doing, brother?
It's so good to see you and hear you today.
It's great.
Love you, man.
I love you too, brother. It's great talking to you. So, Gwen, I'd like to ask you, where do you have your musical roots?
Wow. Initially, I would say church music. As a kid, singing in church, hymns. Straight up hymnal, reading, learning, lyrical, suggestive connotation of gospel music infused in, the whole life of Christ and what that means, interpreted into a song. And I think it just wrapped itself around me so tightly that I wanted to be more musician. And in fourth grade, picked up clarinet. Not long after that, in sixth grade, started playing saxophone and bass and guitar and some piano and whatnot. But for the most part, stayed kind of grafted in that gospel-like kind of mold. My parents were very gifted musicians. Dad plays guitar and sings. Mom is a pianist and sings, and they've had different singing groups in their, wonder years. And Dad, he's kind of got a funky vibe on playing guitar, kind of that Johnny Cash rhythm lead with the bass and, hooking the thumb over the top on the chording. And
Very
just
cool.
A fun guitarist. He still plays at the Senior Center here in town, and, great guitar player. I still play at church, too. I still, that's part of what makes me a musician. I think it's that whole faith-based, part of me that says that's how I speak to God.
Amen to that. Hey,
that's a really strong position.
You grew up in Germany, correct?
That's right.
A couple of
Stuttgart,
years?
Germany, yeah.
What was that like?
Growing up in Germany, it's a different feel if you're an American citizen and you live in Germany and you're living on military installations, or as it were in the economy is what we called it, when you lived in a privately owned house out in a little village. And we had a 7-bedroom place at one time. It was just kind of cool. You live in a little 3-4 story
Sound
home.
of Music.
It's all yours. But I liked the apartment living. I liked living in an apartment with neighbors. You run outside and there's kids to play with and do stuff with. That was, a big part of me. And riding the bus, the subway, the train, all that around Europe. Getting a Euro pass in the summer and visiting all of God's great creation all over Europe. That was so much fun. It's the same here in the U.S. It's just that it was in Europe,
Sure. Well, I know that where your roots were because you've continued, when you've recorded, I know you have 4 or 5 albums out that are hymnologies. You want to hit on that a little bit?
Yeah. So back around 2010, I believe, I started working on a studio project with a good friend of mine, actually a former student, but a friend of mine, James Covard. And he was tracking all of this, and I would work with some studio musicians out of Nashville, put these songs together and track them all out. And I felt like telling my story in song. Some of it was straight ahead style, some of it was more jazzy, some of it was blues, just kind of whatever I was feeling, through that arrangement. More recently, the 3rd, 4th, 5th version of that is straight up, it's a horn band funk. If you like Tower of Power, if you like Huey Lewis and the News with the Tower of Power horn section, if you like Chicago, or some of those Blood, Sweat, and Tears, some of those bands from the 70s and 80s that just, had a great horn section and were real funky. Earth, Wind, and Fire, I hate to really even compare myself with that, but, that funky vibe is so
I just loved all that
infused,
sound of all these
and,
names that you've mentioned.
That's what I'm working on right now, and, it goes a long way. I have a great arranger that I'm working with right now, and I think it speaks loudly when you prepare well and don't just sloppily put something together, but I think you'll get some of that real quick out of, what we're doing.
Well, I know that you absolutely just love being a musician, and you've been with a band for a number of years. and the band's called the Dexter Thomas Band. You want to share with our audience a little bit about that band?
Yeah, sure. There is actually no Dexter Thomas. It's kind of like Leonard Skinner. There's there's nobody named Dexter Thomas. In fact, every single time we play, somebody will ask some member of the group, which one's Dexter? You know, and we'll just point to a different person
Sure.
each week. And it's like, that's Dexter over
That's
there.
Dexter.
Oh, let me go talk to Dexter. I want to get a picture with Dexter, you know. So I've been playing with them since 98. They formed in 95 without horns. In the spring of 98, they decided they wanted to add a horn section. Asked me to play, and I said no. They were going to be playing in a few local clubs, and it didn't seem like something I wanted to do at that time of my life. Kind of over that, and it's not because I'm better than anybody that does that or whatever, but I had a different thing going at the time, and a few months later, they had quit playing the clubs and playing big festivals and Riverbend and a lot of corporate parties and wedding events, and the saxophone player that I had recommended left. He had some other opportunities, and so they came calling again, and this time I said yes. So that was August of 98, and I've been playing with them ever since. Absolutely love those guys and girls. I mean, we have a great thing going. I think it's a family atmosphere, and we kind of relegate ourselves to playing a lot of those horn songs from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and even some more recent stuff. We were playing an event back in the spring before COVID shut everything down, and we played a Beyonce song that has a huge horn section, Crazy in Love. And, I mean, people were going nuts. It's a fun environment to play, and having a horn section doesn't just mean you have to play a certain genre. It kind of, blends itself well across so many different types of music. We even have a country song or two, and I'm not a big fan of country, but it happens.
Yeah, well, I grew up, my mom and dad loved the swing music back in the 40s.
Oh, me too.
And, Glenn Miller Band and Tommy Dorsey Band, just all the different horns that you could incorporate into a song and that sound. And I love that. And like you said, you mentioned bands like Chicago and Earth, Wind, and Fire. It's hard not to like those sounds. I mean, what great sounds these guys came up with. And so I want to share with the audience that you and I met at Saudi Daisy High School. And the Trojans, man. And we had so much fun.
That was great.
Just playing, during our lunch period and during, if we had a chance during our break or that we would have during the day.
And pulling in so many different students in that, and created the band History 101. And then we played
that's right.
Gigs around the community. I mean, that was great. It's probably the first band that my son actually played in.
Cody, he was great.
Still talks about it. Yeah,
excellent
job. That
job.
Little club downtown. I can't remember the name of it even, but they've changed the name of it so many times. Downtown Chattanooga, but playing there, playing at the July 4th.
Was
here in
big
town.
celebration.
So many things. That was a lot of fun.
A lot of young musicians that have contributed and been a big part of Jonny G and Friends. And even if it's not the musicianship, it's the friendship.
Yeah.
So let me see here. I'm trying to think of some things that you and I have done that this is what happens when you get older. Your mind just goes blank.
You had several songs that you pre-recorded that you wanted to do something different with, and we monkeyed with that a little bit, and we've reflected on a lot of different things that turned into songs. Remember that song we did, Cheez-Its?
Oh yeah, got your Cheez-Its, man. You did.
Cheez-Its.
That was awesome.
Different things we put together, and some of it on a whim, some of it really thought out and processed. But I love the creative balance of the two of us when we came to putting stuff together and learning just between the two of us what we thought sounded the best, because it really didn't matter what was going on. It was kind of a reflection of our friendship, I believe.
Well, I think that's the main thing about most musicians. Hopefully, that's you're bonded by that friendship, and the music is intertwines in that. And one of the things that I've really appreciated with you is you're so easy to play music with. It's like, we'll just sit down and I'll play guitar and you just tune right in. I mean, it's nothing.
Yeah.
And it's always usually for you a first take. It's like, hey man, oh, this guy, what a great musician, you just play.
But I stylistically, I played in so many different environments, so many different styles of music. Believe it or not, I played in a band in Dalton, Georgia back in the 80s that was kind of a take on Sawyer Brown. Remember the country band Sawyer?
I thought you said you didn't like country.
I really don't, but I kind of relegated it to as electric bluegrass.
I love bluegrass.
Bluegrass. To
love
me,
bluegrass.
That is a kind of a folkier version
Pure.
of jazz.
Pure music.
Yeah, and I love it, but I don't really have a taste in myself at all for country music. I get the song telling. I like a good lyric, but I'll be honest with you, the one thing that really turns me off is that pedal steel guitar that they call the Nashville sound. I'm out, And I'm not against the instrument. Robert Randolph band, he plays a pedal steel, and it's like the funkiest, bluesiest guitar thing you've ever heard. It's awesome. But that Nashville sound, man, it does not work well within my soul. Sorry.
I got you. Well, you're a jazz musician. I think you're really.
I love jazz. I love blues.
Blues,
I think
blues
is
and
a
jazz.
little more
Blues.
Gospel.
Well, I think when you mentioned that about playing, I'd like to play a couple of songs. One is Winter Nights, where it was kind of funny how we recorded that. We went through that song playing you played through the entire song, and then you kind of listened to it and says, I'm just not sure that's going to work. And then you played at the end, and you went, could it be this easy? You remember that?
I do, yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
That's a great song. It has so many different layers to it, and I think it also showcases vocally what you're capable of. I think that was really cool.
Yeah, I appreciate that. My brother and my brother Matt, we sang 2 tracks. We both did double up on our tracks, and then I just played one guitar, the single guitar.
Is so amazing. It feels like there's maybe layers of guitars too. It's a really good song that really showcases you, man. It's got a lot of you shining through it, and I was extremely privileged to be a part of that.
Oh well, I thought you made the song, so
whatever.
you and my brother's vocals. Well, no, again, it sounded like kind of like your dad's guitar playing. The way I learned was that the bass with the thumb. And then the other fingers doing the rhythm and so forth. And that was all that song was about. It's just one guitar and kind of getting some different sounds from that, which I liked. The other song I'd like to showcase that you really, to me, played a fantastic saxophone on was called Except Through Me. And that was one guitar track. I did do some layers of vocals. But your saxophone on there.
And didn't Casey Crane, did she sing on that at one point?
She did not.
She did in the classroom.
We practiced that, but Casey, wow, what a great vocalist, man.
Great girl.
And a great guitarist for me. I think she's played some songs that I thought were just exceptional.
Nice. I enjoyed playing sax on that. I think there was a kind of a folk and blues kind of vibe going on. And here's the favorite concept between you and I playing all that, time after time after time. If you wanted me to play out on a moment's notice, you would just kind of bump your guitar like a little tap in the middle of your playing. It's like doom chicka doom chicka doom chicka boom, and you hear this little knock. And to me, that meant, okay, you got about 8 bars. Go, man.
Go for it.
And then you would close it out with a knock, and you'd start back in with the vocal. And that is in this song. It's recorded that way. It's just really cool.
Well, I've always just, loved playing music with you, and as I mentioned before, and it's because I think we just have a nice little brothership there. It's awesome. It's very similar to, Brett and me. We get together, and it just kind of clicks.
Amazing.
Brett really has turned into a great guitarist, and I love his songwriting too. He was on the show.
He's a storyteller.
He is a storyteller, isn't he?
He's awesome at that. Yeah, he is, and he's got a good story.
And
he's very wise in the way he, I guess, shares some of his angst sometimes, and also purveys kind of what he thinks about something, in a colorful way. It's great.
He's not afraid to share it. His songs are pretty personal, So anyway, we really thank you for being a big part of Jonny G and Friends, and I thank you more so for our friendship that we've had for all throughout these years, man. It's just been great. Love you and your family. And also, I want to let everyone know that, again, you have albums out, the hymnologies, and I'd like to showcase one of those songs also. I know one of my favorite songs on there is Amazing Grace that you do. So do you mind if we share that song tonight?
That would be awesome. That would be great.
Oh, that's great. So anyway, peace and love to you and your family, and we want to thank all of our audience that's listened tonight. We hope that you guys have a great evening, rest of the evening, and a great week ahead. Good night, everyone, from Jonny G and Friends.
Winter night, calm in my soul. Winter night, sitting by the fire, warm conversation, looking in your eyes, deep as the ocean. Take my hands, never let me go. Winter nights calm in my soul. Winter nights, please stay around. Winter nights, sitting by the fire, warm conversation, looking in your eyes, deep as the ocean. Take my hands, never let me go. Winter nights, I love you so. Winter nights, winter nights, winter nights, winter nights. Winter nights, winter nights, winter nights, winter nights. Winter nights, winter nights, winter nights, winter nights.
Well, I met my Savior on a sunshiny day. His name is Jesus. This is what he said. I am the way, the truth, the life. No one come to the Father except through me. I am the way, the truth, the life. No one come to the Father except through me. It don't matter if you believe or not, it's still gonna come true, it's a matter of fact. I am the way, the truth, the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. I am the way, the truth, the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Life except through me. Life except through me. He feeds the hungry, he heals the blind. Well, get on board, don't you get left behind. I am the way, the truth, the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. I am the way, the truth, the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. I am the way, the truth, the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. I am the way, the truth, the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Now, except through me. Life.